And welcome to the big picture, where we look at things which are happening around us as we speak, and maybe things that happen that we don't really understand and don't even know about. Today I want to talk to you about science. I'll tell you the reason why in just a second, but science is kind of controversial, isn't it? You know, from Galileo through to Darwin to the modern-day researchers, certain scientists have always challenged the dogma of the era and often faced persecution because of it. And these scientists usually kept up their beliefs because they were sure that they were right. And yeah, sure, in some famous examples, they were eventually vindicated. But when does a scientific belief become an article of faith?
After 2 years, 3 days, and 7 minutes? Is this the kind of answer you want from me?
Well, really, I mean, how far do these guys have to go to sort of prove that my theory's right, it will work?
As long as their ego asks them to.
Because, how long's a piece of string, basically?
Yeah. How long can you endure? It's like the world was flat for many people, right?
Yep.
Then it was proven otherwise.
That's right, you could fall off it if you go too far, couldn't you? Yeah.
Just proves the theory that it will go on as long as a stronger opinion with better proof comes out and just shatters your idea.
Okay, so, while this is happening and whilst we're waiting for that bigger voice to say, wait a minute, this is all wrong, blah, blah, it could cause a problem for mankind, couldn't it? I mean, it could be a case of these are just egotistical madmen who just want to be known after they've annihilated humanity as being responsible for discovering how to suck the world of its own arse. It could cause a catastrophe in the meantime. You know, if you have the backing, a degree in physics and an interest in the end of the world, a liability to fellow humans.
Entropy is the key to enlightenment, empowerment, and development. Because without entropy, without trying to stop it, you cannot go further.
Yeah.
If you find the equilibrium, if you find the perfect balance, you don't have to do anything. Just like standing on your one foot and you're at a perfect balance. You don't have to move. Looking at you from outside, why is he standing on one foot? He doesn't want to do anything. That's why he's standing on one foot.
Yeah.
That's how you pose in a yoga stance. And you don't have to do anything. How can you be on your foot and be on balance when you don't have to move forward or you don't have to do anything? How does science go on? Because it has to go on. Just like sharks, they have to swim to be alive. When they stop, they die. Or just the other way around, when they die, they stop.
Okay, well, is there a case of scientists maybe going too far? Let's just take a scenario here. Scientists split atoms to create nuclear power, which in turn will cause radiation and wreck us all if it's not looked after and cared for properly. Do you think that one of these theories, maybe the particle accelerator or whatever that's trying to do, will actually work? Because it seems that they won't rest until they cause some kind of holocaust or turn vinegar into something more palatable.
Well, if you're talking about CERN, the Large Hadron Collider...
Absolutely, I'm talking about that, yeah.
Yeah. It may perfectly be the end of the planet as we know it.
So, if they do find a parallel universe, what's going to happen? They did say...
They will invade there with their bulletproof skins and lasers and stuff. They're going to go there and try to invade that.
They were talking about this week that they're going to try and... they think they can maybe blast holes to find a parallel universe. And what may happen is the holes may suck our gravity through it. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to prove here?
I will just quote from Joker of Batman. Some men just want to see the world burn. They just do. It's the entropy that they crave.
These guys are getting paid lots of money for it.
Because it can be weaponized. Think about it this way. There's a hand grenade that implodes. We've seen it in a movie, Jupiter Ascending. Mm-hmm. It implodes. It just sucks everything around in a certain...
Is that what we're trying to do?
I don't know. It may be, but everything that can be weaponized will be weaponized.
Well, let's be honest. This is going to be one of the biggest weapons ever.
Yeah, it's just going to suck us into it.
We're going to go into a huge vacuum cleaner or something. Do you know how much it costs to make?
I don't care.
It costs $4.7 billion.
I don't want to hear it.
Okay, it cost a lot of money anyway. And the reason I said
that number could have ended any kind of trouble on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Any power,
And it's still
any
could.
kind of...
It still could. It still could. But again, I just want to follow that up with saying yesterday, after preparing this, after reading it earlier in the week, a quest to find dark matter and black holes because it's not working. It's short-circuited.
Yeah, I know. And there are some conspiracy theorists. There are some conspiracy theorists that say benevolent forces.
Ooh.
I will just try to.
Well, there would be. There would be.
I will just try to mimic your accent. Benevolent forces will be there trying to prevent this huge catastrophe from happening.
Right, 4.7 billion. The reason I say that, it moves me on nicely to the next
$4.7 billion
dollars.
Yeah. And they're doing it in Europe, right? Why not euros?
Europe,
Isn't it more valuable?
I have no idea. Maybe they just think that the American life is worth saving. If they're going to kill anybody, let's do it in Europe. If we're going to suck anybody, and let's suck up the Central Europeans.
That could as well be right. Or better brain power over here.
So 4.7 billion down the drain. I know we were talking slightly about this, but we weren't talking about this particular subject before we started the broadcast. 4.7 billion. Now, there's a lot of talk of how we're killing ourselves, we're killing the planet and so on. But there's an old saying, charity begins at home. And it's got a lot of truth when you look at the amount of people in severe poverty and those statistics that are dying every day through hunger. And I use the word statistics because that's what they just seem to be, a statistic. There are many pointed fingers as to who's to blame, but a big finger should be pointed, I think, towards the supermarkets.
Well, the thing is, human life is valuable, right? But every human's life is valuable to himself, herself. And their loved ones matter. When you act and think in comparative terms, it's just, that is a human being dying over there. I can do this to help him, her. Why am I not doing it? It's guilt.
Yeah. We seem to be affected by the things we see and hear.
We are oversaturated with death, with war, with violence. Everything is all at once.
Everything is geared to death.
Death is not a bad thing because it teaches you that it's valuable to be alive or what you can do with your time on the planet. It's bad for anyone to suffer, but suffering is the basis of human existence.
It comes with the package.
It comes
with the package. Yeah. Now, first, I just want to look at statistics here. Every 15 seconds, a child dies of hunger, says a charity, and they're urging G8 leaders to pledge more aid for the world's poorest families. The website StopHungerNow.com claims hunger kills more people each year than AIDS does. Poverty.com claim about 21,000 people die every day of hunger or hunger-related causes. Now, bearing this in mind, supermarkets, one of the giant supermarkets, Tesco, has said in the first 6 months of 2013, its stores and distribution centres generated 28,500 tonnes of waste. And in total, around 15 million tonnes of food is thrown away each year. Almost 50% of that actually comes from the household waste.
Once they start putting out this waste before it has gone bad.
Well, yeah, this is just maybe the sell-by date.
They still can be consumed, and they will feed a lot of people.
Yeah.
And once those people are fed, let's think in more subtle terms, more dystopian or utopian terms.
Yeah.
Once there is no hunger on the planet, once there is no poverty, who are these powers that be are going to give you an example, a bad example of what you could be, what you might be when you're homeless, when you're unemployed, when you don't work for them? Who's going to be the example? What is going to be the example?
Well, of course, the example is not going to be there, is it?
Well, once the example is not there, who is to be afraid? Who is to work? Who is going to war? What is war? War is fear of being annihilated. That's why you're annihilating first. Once you're annihilated, once you're dead, everything stops. Everything is no more. Why bother?
Okay.
Once you're enslaved, once you're unempowered, disempowered, that's the correct term for it. Once you're disempowered, there is a possibility that someone else can do what you would do to them. Torture.
You've actually answered my next question there, which was going to be...
I was not intending to.
No, that's fine, because the question was going to be, is there a motive behind this control?
Of course there is.
The people have to die again to keep numbers manageable, I suppose. We
did not talk about what control means, right?
No, we didn't.
I was thinking about what control meant. I was trying to translate it into Turkish. Then I realized that there is no word for control in Turkish. Because control, as in this context, does mean something else than it actually means. Control is counter roll of the wheel. It's tracing back the path that you came on. It's counter roll. If you can check back how you came to be, that is control. If you cannot control, it's not dominating, it's not being the authority of, that's totally something else. Control, as in this sense, is tracing back where it comes from.
Okay, now, just some interesting facts here I've got for you, and maybe people listening as well. We're the 29th of March at 10:30 this morning. Births this year, 150,969 in the world. Deaths this year, up to 10:30 this morning, 13,735,399.
How would they know this?
These are approximate, maybe from censuses.
They still don't know how many people live in India alone.
Okay. But they're going to say deaths, the new population growth today, 88,886. People who died of hunger today, 12,187. Again, these are approximately. It's from a source called worldometers.info.
These are just statistics and numbers. What do they give you? They give you a perspective. They give you a blueprint for a perspective. You can use those numbers for anything. You can use them for, this world is getting more and more populated by the minute. Poverty is killing more people by the minute. Let's end poverty by killing more people. You can do that because it's a perspective that is available
but again,
with those numbers.
These numbers are making us feel guilty.
Exactly that. Because if you're living a good life, you've earned that life. You worked for it. Or just like us, we are talented and we have worked toward that talent
many years,
so that we could work less and earn more.
Yeah.
So that we could think more. Does it make me feel any guilty because I'm not working a 9-hour shift every day? Not really.
No, not at all. You've done your shift, you put your shift in. Yeah.
I did a lot more than that, 18 hours a day. But I did it willingly. I was not forced into it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for anyone. I did it for myself. I didn't do it for the money that I was earning. I did it for the experience. I did it for the fuck of it. I just did it because I liked it.
You did it for love. For the
yes,
love of it.
exactly.
Yeah. I think love is quite a better word.
Not really. This is the internet. I can say anything. And if you're going to cut that out, I'll just repeat that part.
No, I'm not going to cut anything out at all.
If you're not going to cut that out, I just loved saying that.
That will stay in. You want to say it again?
Say what?
For the love of it?
For the love of it. Do anything you like, but don't feel guilty about it. Because guilty pleasures is your conscience talking back to you, saying that this is not right. And that's a control mechanism.
But why is it not right?
Because we were conditioned.
Conditioned to believe these things you should, these things you shouldn't.
What is a sin? In Spanish, sin means without.
Oh, so we're lacking things.
Exactly that. What is a sin? When you do something lacking faith, that is a sin. When you do something lacking integrity, that is a sin. When you do something lacking the well-being of another, that is a sin.
So if you're not lacking in anything in your life, then you're not making a sin.
Exactly that.
Right.
And how can you reach that point? By not looking outside to the world. There is poverty. There is death. And this is how Buddha reached enlightenment at the age of 35. He lived the life of a prince in the palace for 35 years. He did not even see death or sickness for once. He did not even acknowledge the fact that there was anything like that on his life.
What an effect it had on him.
He went outside for the first time, seeing someone sick. Came back, shattered, shaken to his roots. On the second time he went out, he saw death. And he was enlightened after that. For 35 years, he lived a very luscious life, a luxurious life. And he left his wife and child behind so that he could walk into this world and see the suffering. And he realized that suffering is at the basis of every human
Everything.
everything
Emotion,
human
everything, yeah.
everything
Absolutely,
human
yeah.
is based on suffering. Why? Because normally it is based on love. And love or suffering is the lack of love. Where it's a sin, where there is sin love, sin amor, it's suffering.
I love it. Right then, okay, so finally let's move on to something which is very much topical and a sad story. There was a time in our lives, even in our time, that the fear of flying was just the thought of engine failure, then came pilot error, then terrorists, now suicide. It's
Again, we're going back to Spain.
No, we're going back now to what's happened with Germanwings this week, with the German airline.
Was it in France that
It was,
the plane crashed?
It was in France, wasn't it?
And 3 days before the accident, the exact scenario was put out in a viral video that was shot in Spanish by a Spanish director.
Well, they reckon that this Andreas Lubitz, they were saying that he was with a gliding club, and they used to go gliding 30 miles from the spot where he brought the plane down. But is life posing that much pressure these days? The question is, do we really feel bad enough to end it all? Not just our lives, but other people's lives with it.
Call me a conspiracy theorist, please. But
You're a
I think
conspiracy theorist.
Thank you. I love that. I think they're covering something else here, because having someone pilot a plane, a co-pilot for that matter, there's another one on the plane.
Yeah.
That is the pilot. That is the head one, that runs all. I'm not really familiar with the hierarchy or how it works in the cabin, but still, he could have been stopped. And there's trying to point fingers at someone, trying to find someone to blame.
Well, German investigators reveal that the guy should have actually been off sick on the day he actually crashed the plane. The investigators said the medical sign-off notes were found at his home, including at least one that covered the day of the crash. And Dusseldorf University Hospital confirmed that he had been a patient there over the past 2 months.
This sounds too much like a movie.
Too much like a cover-up, yeah?
Yeah, too much. Because everything is there. Everything they found points in the same direction. When there's a consensus, I tend to think there's something wrong. Because it cannot be that perfect. Well, it can. But that's when nature does it, not humans.
Yeah, apparently whether the main pilot went to the toilet or whatever, went to stretch his legs, he locked him out, the cabin, and wouldn't let him back in. And he was heard on the black box banging on the door saying, for God's sake, let me in. And you could hear the screaming, and you could hear the co-pilot breathing. Apparently, the maneuver he made to crash the plane, to dive, had to be done manually. You couldn't do it automatically. So the intent was there. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Maybe it was the reason for us to talk about it, or maybe it was for anyone on the plane to die. There's another conspiracy theory that I will go back to.
Yeah.
The Malaysian Airlines plane went down with 12 or 20 employees of the same company, head engineers and stuff, that left our beloved Mr. Rothschild, the single owner of a patent on this planet, with the death of those people. That's a conspiracy theory for you. This plane crash here, over there.
There must be more to it. There has to be more to it, yeah?
I feel like there's more to it, but just as I said, when there's a consensus, I try to, but I tend to have second thoughts.
An open mind on it, maybe.
Yeah, trying to have an open mind, because once everything is written in stone, it is no more. You can't change it.
Well, the problem is the people who know what happened are dead. So
not only that,
there's going to be theories and people's ideas happening all the time. We're never going to find out the reason.
This could be a cover-up for something else that is going on, so that we would talk about it. We would look in the other direction. I don't know if time will tell, but no one else will.
Okay, Alkin, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll do it again soon.